But I think you can do both. And I think that is what's driving me personally, that I really think that big business can have actually a big impact. And a little thing that we can do saves a tremendous amount of carbon, right? And I think that is driving me, these things, and trying to use the scale somehow to the good as well. And scale is not always looked up as a positive, but I think in some of these transitions, I think it can be a tremendous force for change, and we should be using that.
In order to have a sustainable shipping industry, it's important for us to also make sure that young people are joining the industry. And so I wonder if there's just some things that you could say to future generations to join shipping and why it's an important industry to be part of.
At the beginning of my career, if you had to explain what you were actually doing, it didn't get a lot of traction, to be honest with you. A lot of people were like, what is this all about, right? And I see now I've got 2 kids, and we recently we did this project where we put these massive wind wings on board of ships, and we had a nice video and a big campaign around it. And my son actually saw it, and he came to me and he said, Daddy, this is actually pretty cool what you're doing, and you actually start having an impact. And it's those little things I think are just great. And if I just look back at our organization, by taking the lead on some of these topics in the agenda, by being out there, willing to be part of the solution, right? Not just say what is all wrong, but really trying to somehow contribute and make a change. We're also getting a lot of phone calls and emails and whatever from people outside the industry that are actually starting to see that this is an industry that is actually in transition and is actually a bloody cool industry to work in. So I think that is something that we really have seen, and I think we should really try to instill that, because as I said earlier, the maritime industry is a hugely important industry, and I think we've seen that through COVID, right? The fact that we've been able to still feed $9 billion of people in a situation like that is it's all because of the maritime industry not falling apart, right? And I think that those are things that people start to see, and if you combine that with an agenda where we're going away from the hiding it in the shadows and bringing it out there, create the transparency and trying to harness somehow also the force into a positive change, I can see this industry having a very bright future, to be honest with you.
My key takeaways from my conversation with Jan are: the first movers started their journey 3 years ago. What's different now is that regulations are forcing others to move also. It's going to be interesting to see how this will change the sustainability landscape in our industry. Conversations are happening and actions are being taken. What's next is that conversations need to happen at a more global level. As Jan said, change is very regional at the moment. We need it to be wider. The industry still needs clarity of direction and on policy and motivation. This is starting to happen, but much more needs to be done now. Overall, making more people work together is the next step. If you're going to take anything away from this podcast, remember this: we should be watching the increased number of regulations carefully as the industry is forced to move. The conversations that we're having regionally need to go global, and the industry needs more clarity to be able to reach zero. These 3 things will enable the green transition and help us face the ever-changing challenges in this exciting and dynamic industry. Thank you so much to Jan Dieleman for joining me today, and thank you for listening to Navigating Zero, Global Trade's powerful wave of change. If this conversation has inspired you, please follow us on your podcast app of choice for more fascinating discussions on how we reach zero. Bye for now.